So episode one of my video log here on YouTube and my podcast on iTunes, what I want to talk about today is golf teaching and golf coaching and what it kind of means to be a golf teacher and a golf coach. I think there's a lot of misconception out there in terms of the regular golfer who feels as though that, in order to be a golf pro, you have to go through school, you have to go through some education, you have to do all these things in order to be a golf pro, and that all the golf pros are kind of trained the same. Well, they're really not. And what I want to go through is that up-and-comer golf instructor, someone who's leaving maybe a professional golf management program or coming out of an NCAA program who wants to be a golf teacher and maybe to weed through some of the mounds of information, different models, theories, maybe some of the misconceptions about what it takes and what you can do in order to be a great golf teacher. So the first thing I want to go through is, do you play golf yourself? I think that the biggest thing is that you apply the things that you learn to your own golf game to see what works and see what doesn't. And there's lots of ways to join the PGA or become a golf pro, and I think that the playing side is now being replaced with the selling side. So I want to make sure that for all of you guys out there that you don't stop playing golf. That if you're working 40 or 50, 60 hours a week in a pro shop and you're not able to practice enough or play enough on your own, not saying with members or with clients, on your own in order to keep up a level of your game, really go to your supervisors and let them know, hey, I need to make sure that I keep my golf game at a certain level because it not only looks good for the membership or your clients who get to play with you, because let's admit it, no one wants to play with a golf pro that can't break 80. But it also makes your director of golf look good if you're a good player. And if you're not a good player, that really doesn't reflect very well on your director of golf. Because the director of golf isn't telling the members, hey, I hired this person because he's a good mannequin builder. I hired this person because he's a golf professional. And a golf professional means that you can play well, and I believe that it means you can teach well and interact with the membership, and the merchandising, pro shop, management side of things actually comes fourth or fifth along that list. So when it comes to how it is that you learn in order to be a better instructor, the first thing I have to recommend you do is go through some of the basic levels of your PGA program. Down in the US, the PGA of America has a really thorough, lengthy process on how it is to become trained or certified in their method. And up here in Canada, we have a bit of a level 2 to that, where we go through some beginner, intermediate, and advanced instructor concepts, and then we get into a coaching side of things, which is a little bit more advanced for your regular player or your regular golf pro. But what you're able to do here is learn some groundwork or some foundations to things, and then from there you're able to go off on your own and find some things that actually help you practically to teach the lessons that you do every day. I mean, let's face it, most golf pros that are teaching golfers, these are golfers that are trying to maybe break 90 or 100 on a consistent basis, or maybe new to the game. And these aren't the players that need a long-term coaching program. They don't need TPI and go and do a workout program. These are golfers that need to understand what some fundamentals are so the golf club hits the golf ball. And I don't mean grip, stance, and alignment, posture, the basic things we've been told over the years. These are things that I'd like to see golf pros learn in order to put the club into a better spot so that they hit the ball better. If your golf lesson for an hour focuses on how you're standing before the club moves, then you're really missing the point. We need to find a way to make the golf club move in a better manner. And with all the different types of grips and all the different body types and golf pros who aim left and aim right and have a narrow stance and a wide stance, there's no model and there's no perfect way to do it. There's a perfect way that the golf teacher thinks that it has to be, but that's probably a reflection of what they feel as though that you need to do. That's a reflection of what they've been told over the years. So as a golf teacher, what I'm recommending that you do is jump on the internet, especially Facebook, get into all the different golf coaching forums and groups and communities out there that really help to bring some good questions to the forefront and give you an idea on how to ask the right questions, on how to ask why, but not accepting the standard answers. There's so many different ways to get this done that golf teachers nowadays really have to go through all the different methods and models and teaching philosophies in order to get a good concept of how they're going to teach their player. Because you're going to get golfers that move in a certain way, and rather than changing them drastically into something else, you need to understand some concepts to help them with their current move to help them hit the ball better today. And that doesn't mean a full overhaul of a swing. No one should ever overhaul their swing. You know, it's they have an athletic background, and from that athletic background, we are going to try and introduce small concepts in the swing to help them get the club on the ball a little better, so it sounds better, it flies better, a little farther and a little higher, and it doesn't go offline as much, or they don't, duff it as much. So in order to do that, I recommend going and searching out some of the big name teachers out there, the guys that you see in magazines and you see names used on a regular basis. Go and ask them to shadow. Stand there for a day and watch how they do it. And if you're able to, first of all, stand there for a day for 12 hours, then you know you've got what it takes to be a golf teacher. But you're able to learn most likely in 12 hours. They're probably going to see 9 or 10 different people, and you're going to see how they interact differently with each person, because you've got to really adapt to the golfer that's there. I remember when I first started teaching and I would see golf teachers come after a lesson and go, man, that guy didn't quite get it. It's not about the golfer not getting it. It's about the golf teacher not being dynamic enough to switch their personality a little bit and switch the way that they give a message to make sure that the golfer in front of them, the guy who's paying them, is able to create a better concept and create a better move on the golf ball. And we've got to adapt to that. We have to be chameleons to some extent and be able to pull from a huge toolbox of tools in order to say, oh, you need a screwdriver today, or no, this guy needs a hammer, or whatever it may be, and try to find a way to get as much information as you can. So from a theoretical standpoint, the theoretical, that's your research, that's your TPI program, that's your stack and tilt network, that's going to a 1-plane, 2-plane golf school, or a Dana Dahlquist or Scott Cowkes. These are guys, that I think are doing a really great job out there. They're helping a lot of golf teachers become better teachers, and as a result of being a better teacher, they're filling up their book with more lessons. And that's the way that we have to do things. As self-employed contractors or guys running our own business, we have to find a way to fill up our book so that we've got enough people to pay the bills so we don't have to get a second job. I know a lot of golf teachers starting out right now that have a job outside of golf in order to kind of get by as they start learning. So there's the learning side of things, but then there's the practical side of things. And as I've mentioned in a few podcasts recently with some good friends, whether it's Jason Sutton, Golf Guru, or Combine Podcast with Mike Pinky, all these things, all the different ways that golf teachers are able to build their book are very unique, but they're tough, they're go-getters, they're active, they're doing whatever they can to get a golfer in front of them. So the first thing that I recommend doing is finding a way to get in front of golfers, and the first thing you can do is you can offer your golf lessons for free. Now, some people might say, whoa, 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 we don't want to do that. Well, if you're beginning and you're starting in your business, you've got to find a way to relate to all these people because everyone's going to be different, and you've got to find a way to make things work. And so what better learning experience is there than to give away your time? Rather than spending $700, $1,500, $2,500 on a golf school where maybe you have to fly somewhere and rent a car and pay for a hotel where it starts to add up, and you get some information and bring it back home. But what are you going to do with that information once you're back home? You're not going to sit there and mostly use it on yourself and your buddies. You have to try and find a way to get people in front of you. So jump on the internet, find a community golf or a community forum, a community place where a lot of people go. And it's not necessarily that you're going to have 100% of those people being golfers, but you're going to find a way to get your name out there and maybe even have a little business card that you pin up in your local Starbucks that says, hey, free golf lesson, contact me, and here's your email address and phone number. Throw a social media tag on there so they can see what you're all about. But being able to get in front of people and show them what to do. So as a new golfer, I recommend finding a facility that allows you to teach for free. So there might be a place that says, look, I want a certain percentage of your lesson. Well, no problem. A certain percentage of zero is still zero. So as long as you don't have to pay for golf balls, and even if you do pay $7, $10 a bucket, no big deal. It's cheaper than flying south to go and, work with someone for a few days. Find a way where you can actually teach a golfer. It doesn't have to be a full hour. Just teach a golfer what it is you know and see if you can make them better, and then go back and reflect on what it is you did and what maybe you could have done better. I recommend recording this entire session for 2 reasons. One is you can take a look at what you've done, and maybe you can say, whoa, that's how I sound, or that's what I said, I gotta get better next time. But second of all, you can clip out all the really good things that you told the golfer, and you can send it to them the next day. And by sending it to them the next day, you then create an ongoing conversation with them. So maybe they come back 2 days later and say, hey, I hit balls, it was really good, and my friend Jimmy wants lessons, so I gave him your number. Great. Jimmy might not get a free lesson, but at least there's another contact for you to be able to go back to them and maybe sell them on a lesson package or a coaching program. Now, those are very much different. From a business side of things, you can sell somebody one golf lesson, you can sell them a pack of 5 or 10, or you can get someone into a monthly coaching program. which is what I do. I get people into a monthly session where they get to come see me 4 times, 5, 6, 8, 12 times in a month, and that price varies. And they get to see me so we can see from the first of the month to the last of the month, where were you, where are you now, what did you do before, what are you doing now, and do it all by data and by video. This is what you look like, this was your club speed, now look what you're doing, 7 irons going 20 yards farther, we had a success, hey, sign up for the next month. So my golfers are always into a month-to-month program, and they continue month-to-month because there's all kinds of different things that we can do, from working on their golf swing to their short game to their driving, getting them onto the golf course. There's lots of different ways to do it. So I recommend, as new golfers out there, once you've learned the information and found great sources to learn from and good people to learn from, keep getting in touch with them. Ask them a question every 3 or 4 days. They might get a little annoyed, but I tell you what, that annoyance is going to go away pretty quick, because those big name golfers are going to say, wow, like, I'm really helping this guy out. He seems pretty eager. I have no problem giving him this information. And perhaps after that golf teacher gives you a bunch of information, he recommends that you come down to where he is and either supervise or shadow one of his day schools or lessons, or actually asks you to be involved in one. Or organize one for him, or her. So when you're able to make those connections and make those networks and be able to learn the practical or the theoretical stuff on the side through the books and through the reading and through the videos that are out there, then you start to really develop a good way of your own learning. Because the PGA isn't going to teach you everything you need to know in order to teach every lesson of the day, but they're going to give you a good framework on things. And whoever the facilitators are that teach those classes, stay close to them, because those guys are the ones that are always learning. They're always trying to do something different. I've noticed that in my 15 years in the PGA, the gentleman that started all of our instructional stuff here in Canada and facilitated most of it has learned more and more and more, to the point that now he's got his own branded business where he's helping coaches in all types of different sports. Now, that to me is a leader in golf instruction or coaching in general. So attach yourself to those leaders, get a really good idea of what it is that they're doing and where they're going, and branch out so that you understand a little bit about the golf swing, a little bit about the new technology and the science, a little bit about the fitness side of things, maybe through TPI, a great guy named Paul Check, the 3D motion analysis stuff, whether it's with Gears or with Dr. Rob Neal, these guys are leaders in what they do, and, then the mental side of things, and you can start working with mental coaches and performance coaches in all types of different sports. One thing that I did when I was a little bit younger is I wanted to know how to get my player ready for, call it battle. How do they get them ready for a tournament? So I worked with a boxing manager for a little while, and because I said, if you can pump this guy up to go jump into a ring where he's going to get pummeled, how do you pump him up to make him believe that he's not going to get pummeled, that he actually has a chance to win? And so that cheerleading side of things is really powerful, especially in golf, because we need to be able to put our arm around a golfer and cheerlead them on into what it is that we've taught them. So you teach somebody something, and then you coach them through the process. And that's really the difference between the teaching and the coaching, where teaching is giving someone something technical and being able to be a good teacher of the golf swing or the mechanics or the practice side of things, and then evolving to a coach. But nowadays, with so much information and so many, how cool it is to be a performance coach, guys and girls are jumping into being elite performance coaches before they've been even an elite golfer themselves. A great tagline that I heard is, most people haven't given a good golf lesson, let alone seen a good golf lesson before, or been involved in one. And I recommend going through all these different people that you know who are good and watch how they do it. And you're going to love 80% of what they do, and you're going to maybe not understand 20% or disagree with 20% of what they've got, but learn all that 80% first. And when you start to see that little bit that, well, I don't quite agree with that, or this guy said something different, or I don't like the way he did it, that's your cue to move on to the next guy. Keep that relationship close, keep it positive and solid, and make sure that person stays in your network, because word of mouth in golf is really, really big. The group of people and the family is small, and if you're good at what you do, you start to know all of the great guys that are out there. And the social media and the internet, all this stuff has really made it close and kept it close to home, so that you're able to communicate with these people constantly and consistently. I called a guy this morning, actually, who I needed some help personally with my pitching, and so I called someone that I met probably in 2004 in the deep, dark golf forums of Golf WRX, and since then, we've actually stayed pretty close. We talk to each other maybe once a month about all types of different things. When we use the same type of technology, we've learned from somewhat of the same people, so this is someone that I'm able to call up on and say, hey, I just have some ideas on what it is that I'm doing. Can you share with me what you see in the video that I sent you? And to me, that's awesome, that I'm able to reach out through some really quick app, send a message, make a phone call, and get world-class information in about 10 minutes from my own bedroom. I thought that was absolutely terrific, and that's what you can do nowadays. So it's what I do in my PGA mentoring program, where I introduce golfers to golf pros, teachers, into different avenues on where to look at and gain information. And every couple weeks, we all meet together and say, okay, so you went through this forum and read this book. What did you get from it? So what did Ledbetter do? What's Ledbetter stuff? What did Butch do? What did Haney do? What did McLean do? What is Stack and Tilt? What are all these big theories and concepts and businesses, brands out there, and what is it that they're doing? And bring that in and let's have a discussion so that everybody can kind of get a feeling of what it is that you do. Now, one of the things that I learned really early on was I got this little yellow book called The Golfing Machine, and I got the 6th edition. So by the time I went through the 6th edition, I was super confused on most of it. But the beautiful thing about this is that all the other people out there that were somewhat experts or really good at understanding this information, they all had different preferences and different takes on what it was that was written in that book. So the more people that I talked to, and the more flavor that I got from all of those people, the more I understood it myself. To the point that some of them had the 5th edition, 4th, 3rd, 1st edition, and they were able to send me copies of those where I could actually read where it started from, how it evolved, and where it got to today. So one of the best things about being able to learn is that, between all the books and all the forums now that you can actually comment one after another, go through all the ones that are the negative ones, because those are probably going to be 40% of them, and stick to the positive ones. Stick to the ones that actually help guide the conversation forward, instead of the ones where, hey, this is wrong, this is stupid, don't listen to this, it's garbage. Stay away from that. There's a great blocker and mute button on most of these nowadays, and I recommend using it because all it's going to do is get you more confused, or in some instances, maybe get you frustrated that people are wasting other people's time doing this stuff. So get on the golf forums, get in the golf communities, attend as many seminars and certifications as you can, but on that flip side, make sure that you have a spot that you can teach golfers for free and be able to build your 10,000-ish hours of practical, real in-person lessons so that you can become a better instructor, so that anybody that comes to you can actually get better right away. And if not right away, maybe over a couple days with a couple days of practice because something's a little bit different. But stay on them. Keep the communication close and tight. Be able to send them their video. Communicate with them back and forth. If you've got access to technology, send them a little bit of technology. All the stuff they understand and maybe some stuff that they don't understand. Because I remember when I used to work with radar companies, I'd send them a picture of their path and their face and their ball flights and all that stuff. And they'd come back and say, well, what's a vertical or horizontal swing plane? Or what's an angle of attack? Well, hey, no problem. I'll teach that stuff. Well, what are you doing next Friday? And all of a sudden, we can book another session. I can have another contact point with them, and we can go through some more things that maybe they didn't know before, where they start to gain a little bit more information on their side of things, but they start to shape their concept a little bit better. And when you can shape someone's concept, you can give them a chance to practice. And they can practice the concept rather than practicing a feel. If someone comes up with it feels like I'm doing this, well, that's terrific. But that feel stemmed from a new concept. So if you put a Tour Striker Smart Ball in between someone's arms and you make them swing back and forth, well, that's great. If they feel like their shoulders are doing something, wonderful. But the idea is to hold the ball and move with that ball there. And all the feelings that show up, great. Write a blog, send a tweet, do whatever you have to do, but go back to the driving range with the ball and make the ball move. So we have to practice concepts that develop into feels. And yeah, you can go and play with the feel or two, but make sure that you practice your action with an actual concept. And that's where the best teachers can come about and say, look, these are the things that we need to work on. These are the ideas I want you to have. Break them down into a small number of words, maybe and label them, call them something so that they can say, oh, well, I'm working on my short game and I need to hit the spinner. And whatever action or concept that you've shown them, they've related that back to the spinner. So when they go and practice the spinner, all of those feelings show up, the concepts show up, and they don't have to think about it. It's an evolution. When you label something, you've evolved it, like a punch shot. Everybody out here knows what a punch shot is. Nobody has to say, well, you stop the club short and the ball goes lower. That's implied already because we know it's called a punch shot. So those are the types of things I'd like to get new teachers involved in. And the PGM programs are doing great. The certifications are doing great. The PGA of Canada and the US and Europe and all the other places, they're doing a great job in building that foundation somewhat over time because it takes a while to go through it all. But if you want to become a better golfer today, go to your library, read as many books as you can. I don't care how old they are. There's going to be some really good nuggets in there. But get into today's world and follow those guys that are great. Get on Revolution Golf and learn that stuff. Get on Course Kings, another fantastic platform. And you can start to pay a little bit of money in a subscription every month to learn a little bit almost every day. And if the program and the platform is right, you can take some of your students, throw them up there, and get other people involved in saying, hey, well, this is what I would have done, or maybe you can try doing it this way. And you take that back to your client and you look like the superstar rather than sending them off to someone else who might charge a lot more money and then they won't be your client anymore. So, long-winded with all this, but all I wanted to do was give you a bit of an approach on what it is that you can do as new golf instructors to hone your skills and sharpen your blades as fast as you can so that you can become an elite golf instructor faster than normal and then evolve into a coach and maybe get into some competitive coaching or potentially work with a professional golfer on a mini tour or develop someone into a mini tour golfer. Those are really big things that you can do where all the information is right here on the internet at your fingertips, whether it's on Facebook, whether you go through the Golf WRX forums, there's years and years of threads that are tons of information. You can go onto YouTube and type in the thing that you want to learn for today and go see how everybody communicates it differently. They're going to have different styles, but take a look at how they do it, why they like it that way, and see if you can find up the pieces that match together so that, you know, if one guy says it goes this way, there's a reason for it. Another guy says it goes that way, it's a reason for that. And you can develop your own style and your own system that you can later brand yourself and potentially start to train your own golf instructors and build your own certification. But in the meantime, right off the bat early, teach as much as you can, ask as many questions as you can, give yourself a chance to really teach a lot and play a lot. Apply these things. If you're a right-handed golfer and you're trying to learn a new concept, try it left-handed. Teach yourself how to play golf the opposite way. What a great way to actually figure out what the feels are to the new ideas and how you can relate to, you know, how long does it take to actually make a change in your swing. So these are the things that I'm recommending. Go ahead and tackle it, and I really hope that you enjoy the journey of learning because it's so much fun and it's such a privilege to be a golf coach.